How's it going, guys? Felt pretty bored and wanted to make a Yu-Gi-Oh video, so here's just a replay of a match that I played a couple days ago. I probably didn't play optimally, but whatever. It was just a for fun type of match anyway. And this deck isn't the best. You might look at it and think that it's just probably some sort of a standard deck, but actually it's not. This is a Red Eyes Goat Control deck, and I'm actually using the same exact list that's featured on the Goat Format channel that was showcased by JDZ, so shout out to JDZ. And I'm going to link the video to the original deck profile and replace to that. But yeah, I just felt like testing it. And as you can see, I got a pretty nice starting hand, opening up both Duo and Pot of Greed. And I believe I go first, and actually not just Delinquent Duo and Pot of Greed. I also get Graceful Charity too. So I hit the Duo, and I usually like going for Duo first before playing anything else. And I did hit some decent cards, especially the Breaker. And my opponent doesn't have any other monsters, so of course he discards the Premature Burial. And there it is. I draw into a Red Eyes Black Dragon. So I summon the Mystic Tomato, set the ring, and pass. The reason why I didn't fire up the Graceful Charity was I was just thinking if my opponent's playing maybe a little bit more aggressively, maybe I can bring out a Sangan with Mystic Tomato, and maybe Sangan can bring me a Sinister Serpent. So that's going to enable both my Graceful Charity and my Abyss Soldier. But as far as I remember, that actually does not happen. My opponent just gets a Thunder Dragon and sets the Saku. Not much else he can do. So here I just said, okay, whatever. I'm just going to attack. And then I set the Scapegoat. And my opponent pretty much can't really do anything. So I'm free to go aggressive here with the Abyss Soldier. I'm still keeping the Graceful Charity in the hand. Honestly, at this point, I probably should have fired it up. I mean, I could easily just discard the Red Eyes Black Dragon and something else. But I figured I want to bring out Red Eyes Black Dragon. I want to actually summon this card. So that was my reasoning as to why I was holding on to it. So my opponent takes the Abyss Soldier, tributes it up for a Thunder Dragon. Honestly, I feel like my opponent probably was better off just attacking with the Abyss Soldier first and then potentially tributing it for Thunder Dragon. Because here, if I have some sort of destruction, just like Ring of Destruction here, then my opponent wouldn't have to lose his Thunder Dragon. My Abyss Soldier would die anyway. But I actually didn't activate that. I decided to just go for a Scapegoat. And I finally get the Sinister Serpent. But for some reason, I went with Metamorphosis first. And on top of that, I attack. And on top of that, I pass, so I don't even activate Graceful Charity. At this point, honestly, I have absolutely no explanation as to why I held the Graceful Charity. So yeah, my opponent sets the Blade Knight. Interesting choice. I guess it didn't matter because both of them would get destroyed by Thousand Eyes. So now I finally decide that it's worth activating, and I discard, of course, the Scapegoat and the Sinister. Not sure why I didn't attack, actually. Maybe I was wondering if there's a spy or something on the field. But I just keep passing here. I think for a couple turns, we just keep passing. Or never mind, I actually decided to go for a second Thousand Eyes to just destroy the entire field. And unfortunately for me, my opponent did have the Sangan set, but I just wanted to start, pushing a little bit more aggressively again. And I set the Mirror Force. My opponent didn't activate the Dust on the set ring, probably because it was there since turn 1 and I haven't been using it. For some reason, he opted in to set the Nobleman with Dust Tornado's effect. Not sure why. And then he sets the Lily. So here, I got fed up. I saw that, my opponent had some back row, but I had Call of the Haunted, so if my monsters got destroyed, I could always bring one of them back. And I just wanted to finally bring out Red Eyes Black Dragon. I thought that might be a spy as well, so I figured to just go ahead and attack, and then I finish up the game with ring, and my opponent doesn't have any real back row, so that's the end of that. Now on to game 2. Now my opponent gets to draw pretty nicely. I think I just scooped game 2 at one point, actually, because my opponent gets an overwhelming amount of resources. Yeah, on top of that, he draws into the Sinister. And yeah, I draw a Graceful Charity of my own. This time not waiting at all because my opponent is really high up on resources. I accidentally discard the Royal Decree. That's kind of annoying how the button to discard your cards and activate them are pretty much next to each other. And on top of that, when my opponent was able to use Don Zalug's effect to discard a card from my hand, at this point, I really felt like I was quite low on resources. So here I'm just grasping for straws. But yeah, there was nothing I can do. So on to game 3. Graceful and Sinister, exactly what I'm looking for. I discard the Red Eyes Baby Chick and then the Sinister Serpent and set the Scapegoat. Unfortunately for me, my opponent had a Surprise, so this was kind of tricky. He sets a Dust Tornado. So here I didn't want to set too much back row, so I purposely decided not to set the Mirror Force. Actually, I also purposefully set the Creature Swap for 2 reasons. Well, basically the main reason was to bait something out. If this was a Pro Set Heavy Storm or even a Dust Tornado, which it did happen to be, I just wanted to bait whatever my opponent might have had, because I also just felt that this card was dead. Sure, I had Scapegoat and Sangan. From my point of view, my targets are pretty good, but if my opponent's just going to keep spamming a Serb Priest, then this card's pretty much dead. So I'm completely fine with my opponent destroying this card and, baiting it out so that I can actually set the Mirror Force. Surprisingly enough, during the end phase, my opponent does not activate Dust Tornado. And this time, he doesn't even summon a Serb Priest, he just goes for the Lily. So that, of course, dealt a lot of damage. I grabbed Tsukuyomi because I felt like there really wasn't much else to grab. During the end phase, I fire up the Scapegoat. And this actually worked out pretty nicely because now all of a sudden Creature Swap becomes live. And I can also activate it as well. And this enables Heavy Storm. And now I don't have to worry about the Lily. And on top of that, I can deal an insane amount of damage, leaving my opponent with just 200 life points. Here I forgot to pay the 2,000 life points because my opponent just straight up took 4,800. But I was reminded of that, so yeah. My opponent has no monsters in the graveyard, so BLS is super dead, and he only has monsters. So what he does is he just goes for a Tribe and tries to clear up my whole entire field, and tries to desperately, do whatever he can to clear it up. But actually, with the help of Tribe, he was able to make BLS live. Now, it didn't matter what my opponent honestly did here, because no matter what my opponent did, he was dead. I had the perfect response for whatever, because even if he summoned BLS in defense, I would have activated Mirror Force to destroy his Tribe Infecting Virus. And even though his BLS would have survived that, I still had a Tribe of my own to get it taken care of. So my opponent probably figured it's not worth playing around Mirror Force or anything like that. If this is like a Sakuretsu or Book of Moon or anything, he wanted to ensure that he could also deal as much damage as possible. But unfortunately for my opponent, it was a Mirror Force, and I just straight up go with Tribe and finish him off for a game. Game 2, not much interaction in general. My opponent just absolutely destroyed me. Game 1, I actually got to bring out Red Eyes, which was pretty cool. And Game 3, not much action here. We see the Black Dragon's Chick. Wow, that's what this card is called? I thought it was Red Eyes Black Chick or Red Eyes Baby Chick. Wow. I I could have sworn it was called something else. Black Dragon's Chick. Okay. So this card was in the graveyard. Um but yeah, it's pretty cool actually. I mean, it's a level 1. It's a dark. You can also bring it out with Mystic Tomato. So if you have Red Eyes Black Dragon in your hand, it all of a sudden it makes it live. And its stats actually aren't terrible. 800 attack surprised me. I think during one of my other matches that I was playing, I noticed that it had 800 attack, and I was able to attack over, I forgot what it was, maybe a Set Faith, or maybe even a Set Sangan. And I was like, wow, this is nice. 800 attack. I thought it would have much less. But yeah, it's a pretty cool card. Again, like I said, it combos, it being a level 1, it combos nicely with Metamorphosis. But on top of that, if you can bring out Red Eyes Black Dragon, it's a level 7, so it combos nicely also with Metamorphosis, allowing you to bring out King Dragoon. And this deck also runs Fusilier, the dual mode Beast, which is also a level 7, so that pairs pretty nicely. Not the best deck, obviously, but it's pretty good, and it can definitely be pretty fun to play. So yeah, that was that for this replay. Let me know what you think of the deck in the comments. And if you want to see more replays, also let me know in the comments. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.